Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired. Be encouraged. Be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yater.
Well, hello, my freedom-loving patriots. Hello, welcome. Well, I'm right here, and I am so excited to be here with you today for an incredible show. Today's Take Your Power Back show is going to be one to remember. Today's show is called Operation Clean Sweep Exposing Fraud, because enough is absolutely enough. A year ago to this date, our groundbreaking series with retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and attorney David Bryan exploded across the globe, reaching millions and shining a relentless light on systematic corruption. But here we are. We're still awaiting justice to be served. Where are the arrests? These are questions all of us have been asking over and over. How much longer can you and me, we the people, tolerate this betrayal of America? Joining me today are two fearless patriots. Retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor, whose insider knowledge has already shaken the foundations of fraud, and Sheriff Richard Mack, a constitutional champion fighting for our rights. Together, we'll dissect the latest exposures, from the shocking Leering Center child care scam stealing from our kids and families, to mortgage fraud robbing families of their dreams, Act Blue's shadowy dealings, pandemic healthcare ripoffs that exploited a crisis, and the election fraud threatening our republic. This isn't just talk. It is a battle cry, America. We are demanding accountability, exposing the players, and empowering you, the people, to take action. Patriots, buckle up. It's time. It is time to do some sweeping and clean house and take our power back. And into the room, I'm bringing in our fearless warriors, retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and Sheriff Richard Mack. Gentlemen, an absolute honor to have you back on the Take Your Power Back show.
Well, it's great to be here. And Sean, it's good to see you again. I saw you just about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Sheriff Mack. It's always an honor to be anywhere near you and everything that you've done for the Leo community. Because let me tell you guys, what he has done and what he is continuing to do makes an absolute landmark. It's a landmark on our Constitution and our sheriffs and peace officers across the United States. And what he is fighting for is getting back to what we should be fighting for with the Constitution and the sheriffs and the peace officers of the United States, following the Constitution, understanding the Constitution, and not depending on the federal government to come in. We all know the federal government has been corrupt for some time now, and hopefully it's getting cleansed, but it comes down to the sheriffs and the local police officers to get to work and go after this corruption and not depend on Big Brother to do everything for us.
So well said. That is so well said.
And Kim, it's great to be back with you also. And thanks so much for having Sean and me.
Oh, an absolute honor. I love having you on the show, both of you guys. So what I love about you two is you've been in the fight. You haven't given up. And there's so many reasons why you could just give up, focus on your families, shore yourself up. But what you've done is, yes, you're focused on your families, but you are also focused on really giving power back to the people. And so we're going to talk about some of the fraud that's gone on. And Sean, we're going to start with you. Okay. And it's been a year since we did Operation Clean Sweep 1, 2, and 3. And those went viral. We partnered with show hosts from across the country. Really, it was across the globe. We even had people in Australia that were sharing this. So we were able to reach millions worldwide, exposing the fraudulent mortgages, the election fraud, the human trafficking, the ActBlue fraud, the geopolitical shifting with tentacles far and wide from the Ukraine and China, the BRICS nation, Canada, and Venezuela, right? So it's been over a year, almost to the date. What was the immediate impact of those disclosures then, Sean? And why do you think they resonated so deeply with Americans? And then last but not least, I'm going to throw this in there. What's actually changed since our first Operation Clean Sweep 1, 2, and 3 episodes?
Let me start with the reason it resonates.
Okay.
And we have to start with the people that it resonates with. That's going to be the people that are Generation X and all of that. And the reason it resonates is we were raised by your Vietnam vets. We were raised by your World War II veterans as grandparents and things like that. These are people who gave everything that they had to be able to continue the rights that we have as Americans, which is granted to us. It's a sovereign thing that's given to us by the Constitution. And these are inalienable rights that are provided to us. And what's happened is we've had good times breed weak men and women. And now we have this generation and this culture of kids who are sitting before YouTube and all of that don't understand what their grandparents and their great grandparents gave. They don't understand that it's the Constitution that was fought for. And, we're going into our 250th year under the Constitution, which is one of the longest running governments on this earth right now. And, we're in the middle of a color revolution. And the reason that we're having to deal with this is because we've had good times, which created weak men and weak women. And it's time that we get back to a very strong nation. And it's time for that. And Sheriff Mack has been pushing that and pushing the whole constitutional republic across this nation through the Sheriff's Associations and the Peace Officer Standards Associations. And we have to be able to understand that this is a living document before us that protects each and every one of us. Okay. And people just don't seem to grasp that fact. It was men and women who gave their lives over numerous wars and skirmishes across this globe that's created this. And our children don't care because it hasn't affected them.
Yeah.
So it's created a weak generation. And the simple fact is we have treasonous who are within our government, everything from the highest levels of federal government down to your state levels, to your county levels and your municipal levels, who have now committed treason and sedition by not following the Constitution.
Right.
And people need to understand that there needs to be accountability for that. The Constitution absolutely mandates that. It is on us to stop a tyrannical government. That's what created the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. And I don't want to go into all of that right now because I hope that we have a commander, and I believe we have a commander and leader that's trying to bring the accountability. And I think the people are demanding to know what's going on and this and that. But what they don't understand, that Sheriff Mack understands, is when you have a major investigation that is going like this, there's some things that they can't talk about. There's some things that they won't talk about. And that is to preserve that case so that when it goes before a grand jury, you don't have a tainted grand jury, you don't have a tainted judge and things of that nature. So they have to preserve some of that information to be able to have a good outcome. So that's where I'm at on that. As far as the things that are moving right now, we've had meetings with the DOJ, numerous meetings. The Flynn's have really gotten behind us and have been pushing very, very, very hard for us. We've met with members of the DOJ, Ed Martin, and various other individuals at DOJ, Main Justice. We've met with people with Ken Paxton's camp, and I was just recently out in Texas meeting with them. And I came in at Sheriff Mack's event and was given the honor of being able to speak for a few minutes with Mark Fincham and General Flynn. And I was able to brief General Flynn for about 45 minutes and had a great conversation with him to let him know where we are at with this investigation. And we have movement, but we got to remember that we're moving it 1 yard at a time, just like our predecessors did by getting us our country 250 years ago. This is not something that's going to be done overnight. This is something that's going to take time.
Yes.
I pray that it doesn't go kinetic, because if it goes kinetic, it's going to be a very bad thing. And people just need to understand the Constitution still is the law of the land.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because what you're really talking about, Sean, is, all of the fraud that has been exposed. I mean, you've been able to, put together over a 16-year murder board, what I call it, of all of the connected fraud, and all of the pieces really do connect together. So Sheriff, let me ask you this. Sheriff Mack, as a constitutional sheriff, how do these frauds that are being exposed right now and last year? I mean, Sean, you brought all of this to the light last year, and now is the time where it's actually getting before General Flynn. It's getting before the people that can actually hold these people accountable, which is pretty awesome. So, Sheriff, how do these frauds tie into the bigger picture of government overreach and the erosion of our freedoms?
Well, as you know, I beat the Clinton administration on the.
You're alive, yes.
So overreach happens to be something that I've been a very big part of. In 1994, and every one of your followers, everybody on this program right now, and everybody will see this later on the tape, needs to get a copy of this little booklet. Now, this thing is there's three really fantastic best books as far as freedom goes. First, the Bible. Second, the Constitution. Third, you got to have this. And I don't know if did you see the name of it?
Is this from your organization, or it is your organization?
Yes.
Supreme Court case. Yes, this is your
This is a highlighted version of my Supreme Court case. Justice Scalia wrote this, so it's more him than anybody else. But this is a miracle. And we all know where miracles come from. They don't come from Sheriff Mack. They don't come from Justice Scalia. They don't come from Sean or you. They come from Almighty God. And then he uses some of us as tools to make sure those miracles take place.
Come on, that's right.
And folks, if you don't have this already, this is absolutely essential and imperative that you get a hold of this, because this is a tool for freedom. A lot of what Sean was talking about, a lot of what this whole show is about, is in a decision rendered by the United States Supreme Court on June 27, 1997. And this miracle is something that will benefit you and your family and our country. And let me give you one tiny little quote.
Please do.
Okay. Scalia does something amazing in this case. He actually quotes the Founding Fathers and the Federalist Papers. And in Federalist 51, he quotes, and this is exactly what we're talking about. And I think if the American people get behind this movement, it'll go a lot faster than what Sean was saying. This could happen tomorrow if we, the people, get involved in the holy cause of liberty, as Patrick Henry called it, the holy cause of liberty, because your sheriff works for you, and you're his only boss, you're his only supervisor, so he has to hear from you. And so listen to this. Quoting Federalist 51 from the Mack Prince Supreme Court case, the only time in U.S. history where sheriffs sued the federal government and won a major landmark case.
Come on.
Some of you might be asking yourself, why haven't you ever heard about this? Because they hid it from you.
Yeah.
And we're making the clarion call about this now. So quoting again, Federalist 51, hence, a double security arises to the rights of the people. Well, how would that happen?
Well, double security. Tell me more.
Quoting again, this is page 9 on this review of the case.
And they can find that at cspoa.org. Correct.
Thank you for adding
Okay.
that. Yes.
Fantastic. You're welcome.
ESPOA.org, folks.
Mhm.
The different governments will control each other at the same time that each will be controlled by itself. So if there's any facet of government, your attorney general, your governor,
Mhm.
like in Minnesota,
Yes.
anyone,
Good example.
and the chief of police down the street, I don't care. If anyone is not controlling themselves, who's responsible to make sure they control themselves? What does it say here? The different governments. Is the sheriff's office a different government? You better believe it. Is the county a different government than the city? Is the city a
Yes.
different?
Yes.
And can the federal government actually come to the states and go, hey, you're not following the law and you're not protecting the people, so we will. Of course.
You mean in my sanctuary state of California, they can do that?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, just read this and you'll know. And then Scalia also quotes Federalist 39, and this is on page 8. And he said, as Madison expressed it, the local or municipal authorities form distinct and independent portions of the supremacy. So I was watching Fox the other day, and that his last name was Wu. I don't remember his first name. He's a constitutional lawyer.
Okay.
And he said, of course, the federal government has supremacy. Read the Supremacy Clause, Article 6 of the Supremacy Clause. And it doesn't say that the federal government has supremacy, except in pursuant of the Constitution.
Right.
They have to follow the Constitution
Yes.
in order to be
They
supreme.
are not
If they
the end
don't,
all be all of law.
they're not. So let me finish the end of this. No more subject within its respective sphere to the general authority than the general authority is subject to them within its own sphere of authority. Folks, we have to know when the federal government is not in its sphere of authority so that we can take action against them. And if you want to stop corruption in your state or in your county or city or in the nation, every sheriff should be looking at these crimes and conducting his own investigation.
Yes.
And the way you're going to get him motivated to do that is have the people contact him. He must hear from we the people in his county,
Yes.
in his jurisdiction. The constituents, the American people, we the people, first 3 words of the Constitution. We have to be involved in the solution. And
That's
if we're
right.
not, if we're just going to listen to great programs like this and not do anything, then you're part of the problem.
So well said. So
And that goes into, it's not just the sheriffs, it's the chiefs of police.
Yeah, I would love to have them on board.
We are absolutely
and
obligated.
for all that to happen, you know what happens? They only have to do one simple thing. The sheriff and the chief only have to do one thing: keep their oath of office.
That's right. But we kept our oath of office, and what happened? State law enforcement served state search warrants on us from a judge who we were investigating, and then took all of our information from us.
yeah.
And we got a loan in one of the business names that he's tied to of over $350 million on a home that's not worth $300,000. Okay, so there should be a separation based on what Sheriff Mack just stated from the justice. Okay, and when you have and here's the other thing is a lot of law enforcement has to have a pretextual reason to investigate. When it comes to a sheriff or local law enforcement, in majority of states, we don't have to have a pretext to investigate. However, a lot of times we do, and that's the public, we the people, coming forward and saying, "Hey, I don't think something don't smell right. Can you look into this?" And when we start looking into it, all of a sudden we have a state law enforcement agency coming down on us, and it's not just the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
No.
It's not just the GBI. It's a lot of these states that are involved in this corruption, and they're directors that are involved in this, and they're put into those positions. What we have found out through the years is the corrupt promote the corrupt.
Oh yeah.
And the reason for that is to continue the corruption from the bottom to the top and from the top to the bottom. And this is a landmark decision that Sheriff Mack is talking about. And if people were to see it and understand it, it would make a world of difference.
Mhm.
And let me add something. You sparked something while you were talking just then, Sean. I have been wanting and praying and talking to people, and I thought I had a billionaire ready to go on this, and then all of a sudden he just dropped off and doesn't return my calls. And this is what I want to do. I want to get people like you and Kim and General Flynn, Mark Fincham, and a few others, and some sheriffs. But I want to have 1,200 sheriffs in the same room.
Yes.
I want to pay for them. I want to pay for their airfare. I want to pay them an honorarium. I want to pay for their food. All they have to do is show up.
Just show up.
If they'll put their butts in the chair and we get 1,200, that's a little over a third of our nation's sheriffs, and they can glean energy from each other and then learn the truth.
Yes.
And then go back in their communities.
Yes.
And do what we're talking about today.
Yes.
And so we want a day and a half seminar with those 1,200 people. You know what we need?
Beautiful.
The thing we need is $3.5 million. And it would be easy, folks, for you to add that up. Airfare for 1,200 people, honorarium of maybe $1,500, $2,000. So they're not out any money. They don't use their departmental budgets. We make sure of that. And they go home with a little cash in their hand, ready to do their own implementation of all of these things. And then we have 1,200 constitutional sheriffs ready to go with investigations, working with each other to take back America.
Yeah. 100%. You know, this is really key. You know, Sheriff Mack, when we first met, I was running Take Our Elections Back. That was after my vote was stolen in 2020. And then I partnered with Mike Lindell, Dr. Douglas G. Frank, and our dear sister, Tina Peters, who's a political prisoner. Right? Remember that? So we're still dealing with that. But we partnered along the way, and we were getting this type of information out. And we realized through that process how important the sheriff was. The sheriff is an integral part of your community and upholding the law. He's our friend. Now, he should be our friend. The sheriff works for us. We bring fraud to the sheriff, right? Now, if you can get all the sheriffs in one place and lay the foundations of the Constitution, create camaraderie amongst one another so that they are not feeling like they are alone against the beast, especially in these sanctuary cities that we're in right now, you know, where these sheriffs are like, you know, they're basically paid off in the positions they're in just to keep their jobs. We need our sheriffs to represent we, the people. We want our sheriff to be the big guy in town, the big daddy who's going to listen to the people and stand up to corruption. I love this idea. I think it's a great way to go.
Now we need the $3 million, $3.5 million. But
Sheriff Matt, you and I need to talk offline and let me talk to some of the people I've got, because I know between you and I, we can get the investors in this because it needs to be done.
Like I said, I thought I had one, but he fell away, and I've been praying to the good Lord that we can do this. In the grand scheme of things, of the destruction of our country, $3.5 million is such a paltry thing.
That's right.
You know, that's a nut. Yes, it is. But it's vital that we have this meeting with all these sheriffs. And that, again, 1,200 is a little bit over a third of our nation's sheriffs. But that's it. And if more want to come, that's fine. We won't stop them. But we've got to have that meeting, because right now, like you were saying, Kim, there's so many sheriffs that think they're alone. Yeah. And this would change that immediately.
Absolutely would.
You know, in Washington State, when we were up there, the one sheriff that was up there, you know, they're coming after him. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Which sheriff is that?
Sheriff Swank in Pierce County. And then also there's the AG is suing Sheriff Wagner in Adams County. They've already replaced the King County sheriff, and the people don't get to elect him anymore. They appoint him. He's a bureaucrat. In the largest county in Washington, it's a bureaucrat, and that's what they're trying to do to all of them. And poor Sheriff Swank is standing and fighting alone, and they are just coming after him.
And he is a damn good man, and he is highly intelligent, and he knows what the law is, and he knows what the Constitution says. And these socialists are 100% trying to attack him. Now, you guys brought up Tina Peters. Kim, I shared a screen. Let's see if we can pull that up right quick.
Let's do that. Let's share that right now.
So let's talk about Colorado. This is information that we've been investigating in Colorado. And let's talk about the state attorney general right quick. We have him tied to Nursing Home Quality LLC, and his home, his private home right here is considered an operating location for Nursing Home LLC. It's his private home. And he's got a $76 million sale on a home that's not worth more than a few $100,000. Okay. And what we're seeing is we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have like 8 homes that are considered operating locations where we have $1.2 billion that's run through the healthcare system. Okay. You don't think that this guy's a part of of what's happening? I mean, really? I mean, come on now. This is happening right now. And this is what's got to be stopped. This is what's got to be stopped. And we have these billions of dollars that are being run through these different states like Colorado, Minnesota, California, Tennessee, Florida, Louisiana. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And it's going to take sheriffs to get involved and start looking at this and stop depending on the Federal Bureau of Investigation to investigate. It's not up to we are individual states and individual counties that make up this country. And people need to understand that. Nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us. We've got to have a complete shift in law enforcement. Law enforcement for years has taken its cue from the FBI, from the federal government. And, if it's got to do with corruption, it automatically goes to the FBI because they're already predetermined to deal with corruption.
Right.
Bull. That is anybody who takes the oath of office is obligated to take care of their people for the area that they have sworn their oath. That means that if a local law enforcement officer finds corruption within his jurisdiction, he is obligated under his oath of office to investigate that. Just like it is a sheriff, a deputy sheriff, anybody else. And Sheriff Mack, forgive me, but I am sick and tired of these guys promoting the corrupt other officers and stabbing the other officers in the back who are trying to do their job. And they're like, Tennessee's got a huge deal with going after DUIs, and we have a ton of DUIs that are being let go because they're not actually driving under the influence, but because they have a mandate and they have basically a quota in place. You have all these THP officers that are going out there trying to get as many DUIs, even if they're not DUI. Okay, that is not constitutional.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not constitutional. That's an illegal apprehension, an illegal stop, and they need to be charged. And I think we need to start taking out the basically judges, district attorneys, and a lot of law enforcement have carte blanche. They can do whatever they want and them not be held personally responsible. If we start holding these judges and these district attorneys and law enforcement personally responsible for the violations of people's civil rights and violation of their constitutional rights, and they end up losing a third of their paycheck for the rest of their life because they've got to pay somebody, maybe we'll get a difference. But until that happens, nothing's going to change. And we have to get these sheriffs and we have to get these police chiefs on board with the Constitution. I mean, they drilled the Constitution into us literally the first 2 or 3 weeks of any law enforcement academy. But once they get back to their agency, then they start listening to the people who are being promoted that are part of.
Yeah, but Sean, do they really study the Constitution, or do they just study case law?
It's case law. They study case law. They want to talk about.
That's a big difference.
That's right. You
can't skip the basics and expect the officers to know. These officers don't even know what form of government we're supposed to have.
They don't.
You just had that sheriff that was being in front of Congress, and they asked him, which branch of government are you under? And he's
what 3 branches of government?
Yeah, he didn't even know what branch of government he was under. He's a sheriff.
And he didn't know which one he was in.
Yeah, it's just like.
So we all need Schoolhouse Rock one more time. That's exactly.
If that sheriff had just gone to our training, he wouldn't have had that problem.
Well, this
Right.
is so important, Sheriff. So I love what you're doing. You know, we've been talking about this for quite a few years, and I'd
Yeah.
say since 2020. We've had many, many, many conversations about this. We know what's needed. And I'm learning now more than ever, you know, working with all the governor candidates from the state of California, how powerful it is when you bring the people together. There has been collaboration, there has been strategy behind the scenes with these California candidates. So this is what's going to happen with the sheriffs. Now I want to transition for a second. I want to go back, and I want to go back to Colorado and the image you just showed us of the corruption, right? And the fraudulent mortgages. So when we look at someone like Tina Peters, who is a political prisoner, Tina was the Mesa County clerk that exposed the election fraud in her Mesa County. She had the before Dominion machines did their cleanup of the voter rolls and afterwards. So it is the Rosetta Stone of the election fraud. That woman is in prison for revealing the truth. Now, how are these elected officials paid? This is where we really want to connect the dots. When we're looking at all the fraud that Nick Shirley is exposing in Minnesota with the leering child care centers, right? The fraud that's being exposed in California and across the country, we're seeing that the dots all connect. Sean, would you please give me a picture? You showed us this picture. You know, you showed us the murder board, but I want you to connect the dots of how these elected officials are in position, how they're getting paid, how these judges are getting paid. How the heck are we going to get the sheriffs to these judges when they're being paid off? And we can't even put the money together to bring the sheriffs together, which billionaires, you know where to put your money now, where it matters, right here. Sean, give me a picture.
All right, go ahead and I just share the screen. So this is another chart that we've been able to put together. And what we've actually looked at is you have things that are like Act Blue, Democracy Forward, Arabella, Open Society Institute, which have opened up, part of these people have opened up that are connected to Act Blue are running their money. Act Blue, you have to understand, is basically just a payment platform. So if you decide to give to Democracy Forward, Arabella, the New World Foundation, Fund for Public Advocacy, Higher Heights, a lot of these people, not all of them, but a lot of them use Act Blue as a payment processor. Act Blue doesn't care about the money that's coming through there. What they care about is they care about the names and the data that's attached to those donations. And what they're doing is they're creating this giant Rolodex of information, and then they are running their little program to be able to do the smurfing like we see between Maxwell Frost, which is the youngest congressman in history out of Florida, and Justin Jones, who's got 16 charges, not including the numerous charges we have on him right now that they won't bring. They're using those names like we see right here. We had 422 donations that came in for one candidate, and all the money was moved over to the other candidate. Okay, so we have all of this money that's been going into places like this right here, where we have not only Democrats, but Republicans like Bob Corker, who's the one who paved the way for the Iran deal under Obama. We have people like him. We have people like Reed Garrett Hoffman. And I'm sure you guys have heard all about him. And he was part of the one that being investigated regarding the Tesla dealerships being burned down. He's tied into Navic Systems with Bill Gates. Bill Gates is tied up into the whole thing right now with Jeffrey Epstein and the this STD, you know. So what people need to understand is all of this stuff is coming together. We have the connections, okay? We've got it all. We've got all the data. Now, what we have to do is we have to make individual cases on these people at the municipal and the county level. And we start with our judges and our district attorney conferences, and we start cleaning house at that level. Because what that's going to do is it's going to cause disruption of the money flow. We have to disrupt that money flow that Act Blue, Democracy Forward, and Higher Heights for America and all that are providing. Once we disrupt that money flow and we're able to remove these judges and these dirty DAs and dirty, you know, sheriffs that are just part of this progressive movement, this socialist movement, what's going to happen is we're going to start having accountability, because we're going to demand that people are put in place that are going to bring the accountability. And so what we do is we disrupt that money flow. And what that does is it helps dismantle this system that these people have had over 30 years to put together. You have to remember that this isn't something that was just built under Obama. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This was not just built under Obama. This goes back to George Bush Sr. many, many, many years ago. And he's the ones who put the Clintons where they are. And so people need to understand that. We have these groups like the Best of Tennessee PAC, which is part of this chart right here, who claim that they are basically bipartisan and that they're for the people and this and that. When in reality, the woman who started this PAC is Chloe Akers right here. And Chloe Akers is nothing but a staunch progressive person who hates MAGA. We've already got documentation of that. She should already be charged with money laundering and embezzlement. Yeah. But you know what? We don't have a sheriff of Knoxville, and we don't have the director of the TBI, Roush, who's going to bring her up on those charges because they are involved in the corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do, we have to
image up one more time. Bring that image up one more time.
All
and
right.
Then I want you to share with our audience, our listeners right now, the American people. I want you to share with them the types of fraud that we are looking at.
So with Chloe Akers, she took several $100,000 as personal payment from a PAC that she put together. Okay. We have the LCR group, which is tied into the EB-5 program. The EB-5 program is where the Biden administration was bringing people over from foreign countries, supposedly to build businesses and provide jobs to the United States. We know within the first few months President Trump was in office, he redid the EB-5 program so that it was acting in the manner that it's supposed to. We look at people who are tied to the LCR group and EB-5 like Bill Gates. Bill Gates is also tied, of course, we know, to Jeffrey Epstein, the Midas Touch Media. But they're not only tied to that, they're tied to things like the KIND, which is Kids in Need of Defense, which is a nonprofit that was moving basically children around the world through their jets and whatever transportation they had that were undocumented and did not have any parental or guardianship there. What do we call that, Sheriff Mack? We call that human trafficking.
That's right. That's right. All right, Sheriff Mack, from your law enforcement perspective, how do these frauds tie to bigger economic sabotage?
Well, when you start looking at all the money that's going through, the biggest sabotage are the tax dollars coming from the American people. And we're supposed to be, of course, funding an honest and fair government. And what we're doing is they've increased our taxes so exponentially that we have to have mother and father both working and out of the home, and then children needing daycare. And these daycares are all fraud.
That's right.
And then, of course, then the children have troubles and they call CPS, and CPS comes and takes our children away.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a dang thing anybody can do about it.
That's right.
And
That's
And
right.
you know, Mark Mitchum in Arizona right now is really putting the hammer down on the family court system for doing the very thing that Sheriff Mack's talking about. They're removing kids and saying, oh, well, this kid has this kid has that. And further investigation, doing their due diligence, they find out that what the Department of Family Services and the family courts are doing is illegal, that the information that's being provided is not accurate information. So basically, our states are involved in child trafficking themselves.
That's been happening quite some time. They had judges in Pennsylvania that were actually doing that, taking children who were completely innocent and confining them and then distributing them from there.
Yeah.
It's been going on, but it's so horrible.
Yeah.
But
it's
the
because
thing
they've gotten away with it, Sheriff Mack.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
not been held accountable. So now it's become blatant. It's blatant. It's like in your face.
all this fraud is. All of it is.
And it's
that's why
almost like
we
we've
got
been
to have
hamstrung.
sheriffs doing something
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Because it has to start locally. First of all, there's not enough federal agents to go nationwide to handle all these investigations. But if the sheriffs would just do it county by county and get the chiefs of police involved as well, I mean,
so I sat on an airplane coming back from Texas. I was at a business event in Texas over the past week. Now, things don't just happen to me. It's God's very specific how he works. I just happened to be sitting next to an undercover HSI officer. So he goes from Texas to California and he does all of the narcotics arrests. He's an investigator. So we had quite an amazing conversation. And I just knew, when you can tell somebody, and not everybody can, but I've been around enough of them that I could tell. So our conversation was rich. And I said, listen, when can the people get deputized? When can the sheriffs deputize us? It's time. General Flynn says local action equals national impact. We hear him say it all the time. Like you just said, Sheriff Mack, local. It's putting the power back into the people's hands. So we're going to talk more about that when we get back, how to take our power back on a local level. We're actually going to jump into election fraud and share some of the ways Shasta County is taking their power back on a very local level. So don't go anywhere. When we return, Sheriff Mack, Sean Taylor, we're back in the room for Operation Clean Sweep, exposing fraud. We'll see you guys in just a second. Guys, we're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors who make the Take Your Power Back show possible. One of our sponsors, who is one of my most favorite sponsors that I get to share, is our Patriots Made resource. And I'm telling you what, our Patriots Made resource is an absolute game changer. And here's what I mean. You've heard Sheriff Mack, you've heard Sean Taylor, basically saying, follow the money. There's a track to the money. What are they doing with the money? Where's the money coming from? How are they making the money? Well, if we have the opportunity to bankrupt the corrupt, that is going to give the power back to we the people. And we have the ability to do that with our Patriots Made resource. So I want you to imagine a manufacturer that's been around for 40 years, a USA manufacturer that makes over 450 products that are better, safer, and less expensive. We don't have to drink the Kool-Aid and buy the illusion of choice. Your Procter & Gamble, your Colgate and Palmolive, and your Johnson & Johnson. That's a lie from pit of hell. If you keep using those products, what's going to happen? You're going to end up diseased. Why? Because of the parabens, the alcohols, the sulfates, the triclosan, the quaternary disinfectants. Throw it out. Get rid of the junk in the trunk and make the switch to an American manufacturer, debt-free, privately held, vertical integration. They are the bomb diggity. We took our power back 21 years ago, and I have helped hundreds of thousands of families just like yours not only have resources for their wellness in their home, but put food on their table. Go check it out today. Go to patriotsmade.com/Kim. That's patriotsmade. That's right. .com/Kim. Now, part of our Patriots Made is another resource called Freedom Steaks Now. Now, they're the same exact resource, but what's unique about these guys is they are beef. So the same company that makes over 450 products that are better and safer, they've got their own ranches throughout the United States and a manufacturing facility in Kansas, all vertical integration. Now, I got to confess, I've had good beef at Mar-a-Lago. I've had good beef at some of the highest level steakhouses. But why settle for good when you got great? I'm not kidding. This is amazing. This is my beef, my ribeyes. Oh my gosh. So imagine 28 days aged, no hormones, no antibiotics, and never ever mRNA. And no Zeranol, which is actually outlawed in most countries, but not outlawed here in the USA. You can access your beef today. I hear freedoms ring, the grills are lit, and the searing ribeyes. I don't know what kind of steak you like. They got it all, but I love my ribeyes, and we're having ribeye for dinner tonight. Go check it out. You get it sent to your house. and they do an excellent job. It comes solid frozen, and you throw it on the grill and it's good to go. Go to freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. That's freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. And without further ado, we're going to bring back into the room our freedom loving patriots. Guys, this has been an incredible opportunity today to really talk about what we've seen all over the airways on podcast shows throughout the country. We've been talking fraud, fraud, fraud. We're now in the fraud disclosure. We've seen Nick Shirley disclosing the fraud in Minnesota. We've seen Amy Reichert, teams like Steve Hilton's teams and others bringing to light, the fraud and doging the state. That's exactly what we need to be doing, putting the power back in the people's hands. We are not watching a television program. Yes, you're watching the show today, but our lives are not a television program. The corruption around us is not a television program. This is your schools. This is your mortgage companies. These are your neighborhoods. It's time for you to say no more, not on my watch. And again with us today is Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and Sheriff Richard Mack. Hi guys, welcome back. That's a lot to say, huh? Commercial to commercial. Well, guys, I'm so excited that you're here today. I wanted to, traverse. We've been talking about fraud, but one of the areas I really wanted to bring up today, which I feel like is a very important area, especially going into the primaries, is what's happening with the election fraud across the country. Now, we've taken action here in Southern California, not even Southern California. I have teams across the state that have joined forces with Take Our California Back. We're going to talk about that in a second, but let's just talk about the election fraud, multiple illegal votes by non-citizens. We've seen that with Mexican national Jose Zabales. Armendariz, right, charged in Kansas with voting multiple times in U.S. elections, facing counts of election perjury and voting while unqualified. We've seen mass fake registrants in Georgia. Samunta Shomin Pittman charged with 70 felony crimes of fraudulent voter registrations by filling out fake applications with canvassing. We've seen non-citizen voting. Colombian national Lina Maria Orovia Hernandez convicted on federal charges for illegal voting, identity theft, and passport fraud in 2024. We've seen local election fraud across the country. In one state, Pennsylvania, 2 men convicted and given harsh sentences in a mayoral race ballot fraud scheme in 2025. Absentee mail-in abuse. Wisconsin clerks referred 46 cases of suspended fraud and irregularities from the November 2024 election alone out of 3.4 million ballots. Ongoing convictions nationwide. Heritage Foundation database continues to log new proven cases, including false registrations, duplicating voting, absentee ballot fraud in states like California, Missouri, Florida, Alaska in 2025. Now, gentlemen, I'm on my way with a team of governor candidates from the state of California and others running for office. Dr. Douglas G. Frank, world-renowned physicist, exposes election fraud in 46 states, and Clint Curtis. And this goes back to what you said, Sean. Clint Curtis was hired by the Biden administration as a Republican to go in and create the code to flip the votes, the Biden administration. He saw what was being done. He had no idea how they were going to use this. He became the whistleblower that spoke before Congress, left the Republican Party, became Democrat because of the corruption. And now he's back. I believe he's an NPP right now, no party. And I could be wrong. He might just be a Republican again, but I'm going to tell you what, Clint Curtis is setting the stage for what's possible in the state of California. I sat with Mike Lindell, Doug Frank and Clint Curtis last week, and we disclosed what Shasta has done 2 elections. They've gone paper ballot, or they've utilized the ballot, and they have created election transparency using the California ordered tabulator or machine. But we video everything going in, everything going out. It is live streamed. It is transparent. There's no more walls blocking people from participating. So I got to share this with you. We are heading to San Joaquin. San Joaquin is where the FBI executed search warrants at the election office in 2026 as part of active probes into alleged voter fraud in record issues. Former Lodi City Councilman, you might remember his name, Shakir Khan, was arrested in 2023 on 14 felony counts of election fraud from the 2020 election, in which he won by 282 votes. Investigators found 41 sealed, completed mail-in ballots stashed at his home and 71 fraudulent voter registrations tied to his address, his phone, his email, including fictitious names on nomination petitions. He'd say, hey, sign a ballot for me and give one to Biden. Khan pleaded no contest in January 2024 to 77 total felony and misdemeanor counts, including the election fraud charge plus illegal gambling, money laundering, and COVID unemployment fraud. Guess where this case is now? As of 2026, sentencing has been delayed in San Joaquin County, California, Lodi, over 10 times, while his attorneys seek to withdraw the plea, citing mental health issues. I'll give you mental health issues, meaning this elected official who stole an election still has not received final punishment. He's taken off his ankle bracelet, gone to Pakistan, come back. Where's the accountability? Where's the justice? Please, gentlemen, help me to understand. Sean, what do you think about this? Sheriff Mack, give me some lowdown. What are we going to do about these elections? I know what we're doing with Take Our California Back. I'll tell you about that in a second. But do you see anything shifting in the primary and the November elections?
I'll go first. Mine will be real short. I don't see it. And what we need is like the sheriff in San Juan County to at least conduct an investigation. Look at all that happened because of that one thing. I'll turn it over to you, Sean.
If the sheriff were on board there, then we might have a different outcome. And if this judge is allowing this to happen, maybe we need to execute an investigation into that sheriff, into that district attorney. Yeah, into the on the judge. The sheriff needs to look at the judge, find out if his family is receiving funds from any nonprofits, NGOs, anything like that. We need to start looking at that. Where is the money flow? Where is the money coming in? Because this guy isn't doing it just out of the goodness of his heart. Okay. Yeah. He's doing it because he's getting paid, or somebody in his family or a close friend is getting paid to do this. Does he have a contract with, as a private person? Does his family member have a contract with the court system for the ankle bracelets? Do they have a contract with the court to do the drug tests? Do they have a contract with the court for anything like that? Okay, so these are the things that the sheriff there needs to start investigating and find out where the money flow is coming and going. Okay, this is where we need to start using FinCEN to our advantage. Identify the money flow
and keep going there, Sean. But just so everybody remembers, the county sheriff started this investigation. He's the one that did this investigation to begin with.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. But the thing is, now we got the judge who's allowing all of this stuff to happen. Yeah. Okay, so if I was, let's say the TBI is coming after me right now, like they are, if I were to try to leave the country, they would have already revoked my passport.
Right.
Okay? That would have been stopped immediately through HSI and my passport revoked. So when I showed up to TSA, hey, brother, you ain't leaving this country. You're going to stay within the continental United States or within the area of extradition. So by this being allowed to happen, that tells me something is happening on the backside, and the people within that county, in that sheriff, need to either start doing FOIA requests for all the emails with that judge and that district attorney, or that sheriff needs to start doing judicial subpoenas or grand jury subpoenas for anything regarding the emails, text messages, PIN registries, or anything like that, to see what the hell is going on, because that's where accountability comes in.
That's right.
And the people deserve that accountability 100%. Yes. Why is he going to the countries that he's going to? What business does he have in those countries?
That's right.
And exactly who is he meeting with? Okay, that's going to be part of his PIN registry. And anytime you leave the country, if you don't think the NSA, CIA, or DIA is listening to what's happening, you're crazy. Okay, you're crazy, because as soon as you leave this country and you go overseas, they're going to be paying attention. I had a very good friend who went down to Cuba, and his wife ended up meeting with Fidel Castro's son. And when he got back, they were waiting for them when they got back to the United States to be debriefed, because they wanted to find out what Fidel Castro's son had to say. This guy hadn't been active in law enforcement in 15 years, but they wanted to know what was said. If you don't think they aren't paying attention, you're crazy.
Okay, so then let me ask you this, Sheriff Mack, you're the constitutional expert, right? So how does this fraud violate our core rights? And what can the sheriffs do to safeguard the elections that are actually coming up right now?
Well, first of all, in our constitutional republic, the word republic means the people are in charge. And if the corruption of government steals our stewardship as we the people, the American people, to appoint and choose our own representatives, then we really have no country. We have no republic. It's a democratic dictatorship is what it's been turned into. And then that is going to the next level of communist Marxism. And if we can't choose, the party's over, it's done.
Yeah.
There's one thing that still has to happen.
What's that?
There's several, but the first thing that has to happen is if government is so corrupt that they will not go back to paper ballots and get rid of these infernal, demonic voter machines that are all manufactured in foreign countries that hate us. That
all out of code. They're not even in code, and they can be accessed by the internet. So they can, what Clint created, that code can be flipped. There's a back end.
But there's still some other things that have to happen, and that is it needs to be same-day voting. Yes. Only people who are infirmed can vote early, but I prefer that even then they vote same day. You know, if you can be driven down the day before to vote, you can be driven down, and your relatives can take you to go vote. And this voter fraud, what happened in Wisconsin when Sheriff Smaling did the investigation in Wisconsin, people were going into nursing homes and voting for the people.
Yes, they were.
And then you know who actually complained? The family members of the infirmed, because they said, my mother is invalid. She can't vote, but yet she voted. And that actually prompted the investigation by Sheriff Smaling. And then, of course, the Democrat AG wouldn't do anything about it. He literally told Sheriff Smaling, nice publicity stunt. Nice publicity stunt to a very thorough and professional investigation, criminal investigation. Well, that's what the AG did. So, but we need sheriffs to keep doing that, and we need thousands of sheriffs to do that instead of like maybe 5 or 6.
That's right. That's exactly what we need, especially in this sanctuary state. You know, let me pop this up real quick. I want to show this to you guys. Let me take this banner off. That way you can see the bottom of it. This is the event that we have. So we have our teams of governor candidates and others that are running for state positions that are joining us on our team. And we're traveling from county to county. We're working with the counties that have the supervisors that are, let's say they're leaning red. They're open to meeting with us. And we've got Doug and Clint meeting with them, which is key, because can you imagine? Let me just give you a picture. what if we could have 15 counties in the state of California, or even half of that are actually paper ballot, that are utilizing, yes, the tabulator, but everything is videoed in, videoed out. We get a real count, and it is transparent elections, and real election reform. What would happen? What would happen, Sheriff Mack, if we did that in 15 or at least half of those counties in the state of California?
Be a wonderful start. Great.
It would be a wonderful start. That's what we're working on. So we're traveling these counties. We're in San Joaquin on the 16th, next Monday. So we're meeting with agriculture, farming. We're meeting with the Bureau. We're also doing a press conference. And these governor candidates did the walkthrough in Shasta with us. That walkthrough in Shasta was a game changer. Why? They got to see election transparency with their own eyes. It was phenomenal. So the following week, we are in Kern County, and we're doing the same thing. So we'll have the meeting with, agriculture, farming. We're going to do a press conference. We're going to talk about election transparency, create the possibility in Kern of them doing exactly what Shasta is doing. And then we'll go into the governor candidate forum that evening. But these are going to be game changers. This is what we're doing throughout the state. And then check this out. April 25th. Now, gentlemen, I have a feeling you're going to want to be here for this. What if we could show the entire nation how they could utilize their city, their county, every city, every county? They could utilize an additional election security feature. What if? That's exactly what this is. So when Mike Lindell, we sat down with Mike last week, or actually maybe it was the week before, and Clint and Doug, he about fell out of his chair. He's like, Kim, this is exactly, you know how Mike is. This is like, and he's meeting with President Trump now, just so you know, all of this is going to President Trump. So we at California, we know how California goes, the rest of the country is going to go. So this is what we're doing. We're not stopping. It's not done till the fat lady sings, okay? There ain't no fat lady. So we're not done. So I want to know from you two, do you see, what's your vision? Like right now, you told me, Sean, you said to us, hey, I'm meeting with the DOJ. All of this evidence is getting to where it needs to be. When do you think we're going to see the arrest? When do you think we're going to see fair elections? When do you think we're going to see the power given back to the people?
When I look at this in totality, and I see how President Trump is and his personality, President Trump wants to be the best. That's the bar that he has set for himself and the self-accountability that he has. And so this is our 250th anniversary. Yes. And if you'll notice, the information did not start flowing until after January the 1st of the 250th year of our nation. So I think this is going to be the year of accountability. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more information that's going to be flowing out. Yes. As in the stuff like the election fraud and the search warrants that were executed in Georgia. You're going to start seeing the information flowing out with the Epstein stuff and all of that. You're going to start seeing more on the human trafficking, the child trafficking. You're going to start seeing more on the mortgage fraud. That's some of the stuff that nobody's talking about with Epstein, is he was tied directly to Bear Stearns with the same stuff that I've been investigating for the past 15 years with the mortgage fraud. Okay, so you're going to start seeing that, because that's part of this multifaceted attack by our adversaries. Okay, so you're going to start seeing more and more. We've gone from a trickle of accountability and information coming out to now the garden hose is on, and it's on full blast. And so I think you're going to start seeing more and more and more. We're seeing that JD Vance and President Trump have appointed this new fraud prosecutor now. And I think that you're going to, and he took that away from the DOJ. This guy is going to be accountable directly to the vice president and the president for bringing the accountability. And I think that all of this has been set up, and I think it's been planned ahead of time so that the people are going to see everything that's happening. I think you're going to start seeing the military moving in on a lot of this stuff so that we can have fair accountability. because the chances of us getting the accountability within the criminal courts and stuff like that right now, it's just not going to happen because we have too many district attorneys and too many judges that are a part of the corruption. And so I think you're going to start seeing some of the military moving in and military tribunals moving in. Wow. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing from the first of this year all the way up until the midterms. And I think we're going to have some major stuff that's happening before the 4th of July, because that is our nation's birthday. And I think we're going to start having a lot of accountability that's coming forward to give the power back to the people. Yeah. And one of the things that we're going to be working on, I've called on President Trump. I've already done a couple of videos that have gone viral that have got well over 2 million views.
Right.
Yeah. Let us be the presidential point team for bringing this corruption to light.
You've got that team of 12 disciples. I'm telling you.
And we've got people from local law enforcement up to federal law enforcement, active, retired. We got intel analysts. We've got everything. Let us be your presidential point team. If you don't want to give us the government power, let us be able to use OSINT. Let us be able to use the open source intelligence, gather all that information, and then put us with this new prosecutor that you have in place to provide you the reasonable suspicion and or the probable cause to be the prequel or the first act to be able to start these criminal investigations. We have a team that's ready. And Sheriff Mack has a team that's behind him that's ready. We've got Kyle Reyes with Blue Lives Matter.
Love Kyle Reyes. He's amazing.
And imagine if they and myself and Sheriff Mack come together and we start putting together a posse across this country, and I'm in. A resolute nation that we are. Can you imagine what we, the people, can accomplish with this corruption?
Yes.
We are unstoppable. Our founding fathers were unstoppable. The people in the First World War, the Second World War were unstoppable. And by God, we are ready. We have the fortitude to move this forward, to ensure that our children and grandchildren are free of a tyrannical global government.
That's right.
Let me tell you, it's coming, and hell's coming with us.
Come on. Well, we're gonna put them in hell. Is what we're gonna do. They're either gonna repent or they're gonna go to hell. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Sheriff Mack, what's your take?
I love it. Sean called it right. You know, I really have pushed with the CSPOA. And again, every person on this call can join the CSPOA. You can be part of a peaceful and effective solution. We train you how to work with your sheriffs. And we really push posses. We have our CSPOA posse, but we also want to have thousands of other posses with each individual sheriff's office all across the country, all across California. And we're really needing them big time in Washington State right now because of what Sean and I were there to do 3 weeks ago. And it's just so sad that Washington, the name of a state called Washington, is the worst state in the union, worse than California, in destroying the office of sheriff. We cannot allow that to happen. That's why we went. But you notice who did not show up there, Sean? The National Sheriff's Association would not come.
That's right.
Yeah, they wouldn't even come.
But we did have protesters.
Oh yeah, we had protesters. Right. They were fun. So folks, the posse thing has a lot to do with this. And so every Wednesday we offer you training on how to work with your local posse and how to make sure that. And some people say, "Oh, we can't form our own armed posse." I say every sheriff's office in this country already has a posse. It's called the Search and Rescue Squad. Yeah. If they can have volunteers do that, they can have volunteers as a Minutemen organization to be armed, or if the sheriff doesn't want them armed, then not. It's up to the sheriff. But it's up to you, the people working with your sheriff, to determine how that's going to happen. Yes. Yes. Okay? But whatever reason the sheriff needs, and you decide and work with your sheriff, absolutely make sure the sheriff knows we want to be trained. We don't want to be a bunch of dummies. Okay, we want to be trained. We want to work with you, and we want to support you in whatever you need. Which sheriff is going to turn that down?
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
But now,
That's right.
folks, are you going to turn it down?
Mm.
Join us at cspoa.org. Become
Come
a
on.
part of this and
Come
become
on.
a part of the solution.
Come on, come on. And Sean, oh, Sheriff Max, so good, so good. All I know is I am imagining all of these sheriffs coming together. I want to be a part of that. I also have some funding that might come available to you. We've got some amazing things happening in the state of California, and those that are running that haven't even plunged in yet, that are going to fund a lot of this movement, just so that you know. So we'll be talking more about that. Sean, tell me real quick, we have your website. We know Sheriff Mac's website is right here. So people can go to cspoa.org for all of that information to join forces. And we want to join forces. And then Sean, for you, we've got conspiracycop.com. Is that the best site to send people to?
So it's got a lot of information on there. It's got ways to donate on there. And you can also go to our X account, which is FTG Solutions LLC. And forgive me, Sheriff Mac, but we made that name in a time when we were kind of angry with everything. And FTG Solutions stands for F those guys solutions, because we ain't taking it no more. So, God knows my heart. God knows my soul. He is the creator of all, and he is the one who breathed breath into me, and he knows what he created. And sometimes he knows I get angry because he's the one who created me. So that's why we came up with that.
I love it.
So all that is it's time that the people stand up, and we the people stand together, and there's accountability driven, and that accountability doesn't start until now. So they can go to FTG Solutions LLC on X. They can go to conspiracycop.com, and we're in both places, but the biggest place we post is there, and it's also got a connection to our website.
Fantastic. So
I'm going to tell you one other thing. I'm talking too fast.
Tell us.
One other thing I'm going to do tonight, Kim.
Yes, tell me. I want to hear.
I'm ordering those steaks.
Yes, you are.
It's gonna make me hungry.
I'm coming for dinner tonight.
Say the name of the website again.
freedomstatesnow.com.
Love it.
Kim.
Now.
Love it.
/Kim.com, and I'll send it to you as well. Hey guys, I'm so grateful for you. I just feel so blessed. Like, you're my two big brothers. I don't know how I might be older than both of you. I don't know, but I just love it because you guys are such warriors, and I am honored to be in this race with you guys. We're going to take this country back. We are. We love God. We love truth, and we're willing to die. Now, cancel us dying. We're going to live in the name of Jesus, but we're willing to put our lives on the line, and that says a lot. It really does.
Let me tell you something. The worst thing they could do is make people like Sheriff Mac and I martyrs, because if they make us martyrs, it's over.
We're stronger.
That's right.
Well said. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Take Your Power Back show. And you know what? We're going to continue to keep you all updated, our audience updated. We're going to have Sheriff Mac, Assistant Chief Sean Taylor back again, because I think it's about to get hot in the city of Denmark. Hot in the country of the good old USA. Gentlemen, thank you again. And I'm going to be back in contact with you. And I love you.
Sheriff Mac, tell your beautiful wife I said hello, and just love to you, sir, and love to you, Kim, and to all your viewers. Just thank you, and hold the line.
Hold the line. Come on, Sean. We love you.
Thank you so much. Thank
you. Guys, what an amazing day. What an amazing show. Oh, I have to tell you, when I say I love these guys, I feel so honored and blessed every time I get to talk to them. Every time they pick up the phone, when I call, when they come on the show, they bring such value. They are like the diamonds in the rough. They are like, when I think of the gold, I think of richness, I think of quality. These are the people that I think of. They're the ones that are going to make a difference. And they're here to inspire you to take your power back. You're not alone. And they can't do it without you. You heard the calls to action today. They want to equip you with the resources. They want to equip us with the resources. And then they also need the funding to do the work that God's called them to do. So please support our freedom-loving patriots. And with that being said, today you got to hear a little bit about Patriots Made and how to take your power back from the big box retailers. You can go to patriotsmade.com/Kim. You got to hear about our freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. No hormones, no antibiotics. No mRNA, never, ever. The best beef you're ever going to eat. If you're a carnivore, golly, go get your steaks today. freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. And most importantly, you get to choose today whom you will serve. Will you allow yourself to be a victim at the effect of everything that's happening? Listen, it's the Hegelian dialect. They give you the problem, right? And then they bring the solution. They create the division and the discord. So if you need to take time away from your social media, if you need to take time away from your phone, the television, then do it. Get yourself grounded. Get back into God's word. Ask the Father, what is it that you have for me? What actions can I take right now? And if you don't know what actions to take, by golly, you need to join my team at TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. If you are here in the state of California, if you want to know what we're doing across the state, I want you to go to TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. We've got national calls every Monday. And I'm telling you what, if you want to be in our national calls, join in. Go to TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. Subscribe. When you're there, you can also subscribe at the TakeYourPowerBackShow.com, but we'll keep you abreast as to when we meet. And we will actually help you find your gifts and talents so that you know how to get involved. If you think we're done because Trump won, we've just begun. You heard Assistant Chief Sean Taylor say, hold the line. That's exactly what we need to do, my freedom-loving patriots, is we need to hold the line. So with that being said today, we are at the tail end of our show. We swept through the shadows today on Operation Clean Sweep, exposing the child care cons, the mortgage mayhem, Act Blue antics, pandemic plundering, and election erosions that threaten our republic. A huge thank you to retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and Sheriff Richard Mack for their unyielding courage. Your voices are the spark that we need, Sheriff and Sean. But remember, a year ago, we ignited a fire with millions watching. Today, we ask, where's the justice? Where are the arrests? How much longer can we endure it? And the answer is, it's up to us now, we the people, to start speaking up, to talk to your sheriffs, get involved, go to your city councils, talk to your supervisors about having transparent elections. It's time for us to rise up and demand accountability and to take our power back. Share today's show. Go to TakeYourPowerBackShow.com. That's TakeYourPowerBackShow.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. You can find us on X, on Facebook, Buzzsprout, on Apple, you name it, we are there. We love you. Share this with everybody. And if it's in your heart to keep freedom alive, please go to TakeYourPowerBackShow.com. Donate. Become one of our sponsors. Keep freedom alive. Your $5 donation, your $10 donation, your $1,000 donation matters. And if you want to fund these sheriffs getting together, reach back to me. You can reach back to me at TYPB, that stands for Take Your Power Back, producer at gmail.com, TYPB producer at gmail.com. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay strong, because together, with God, we will win. God bless you. God bless this country, and may God continue to give you the desires of your heart. We'll see you guys on the other side. I love ya. Out and about. Till next time.